Figured I'd go ahead and take a bite out of these apricots while I'm conversing with you all. You know, over the years, I've talked a lot about citrus trees on my channel. I've gone as far as to really study the botanical and the horticultural preservation of citrus trees. Now, I'll say this again for all of you newbies that may be new into growing citrus trees. And I'm going to give you a few pointers to make sure you have a successful tree, but a tree that will thrive for many, many years to come. And this is very important to understand, okay? Number one, clementines, mandarins, and oranges are all different fruit. Although clementines and mandarins look alike, they even taste alike, but they're far from being the same fruit, okay? Oranges, on the other hand, a lot of people, when they think of an orange, they think, oh, an orange is an original of the citrus family. No, it's not. An orange is literally a mixture of a clementine, no, a mandarin and a pomelo, just so you folks know. You know, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards particular varieties because that's either what they grew up on and it's what they've been used to. So they used the wrong name and the wrong origin or botanical name for the wrong fruit. Oranges are the largest of the citrus, while tangelos are next, or shall I say mandarins are next, and then clementine itself, they are the smallest. Oranges are a little thicker when it comes to the flesh of the fruit, and in fact, it's very bitter. And then you got your mandarins, which have a slight tart and got some sweetness to it. Their skin is not as tough as the oranges. And then you got the clementine, which I'm right in front of today. And I want to talk a little bit about this tree. And the clementine being the sweetest of all of the citrus. And it's not only the sweetest, but easier to peel. It sits in the same family as the Awari, Satsuma, and other clementines or mandarins. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But I want to give you a little background on this tree. We're going to get a little bit closer, and I want to show you what's going on with this tree right now and why I'm so thrilled, why I'm so happy with what's going on with this tree. And although this tree is still somewhat smaller, in fact, all of my citrus trees are somewhat smaller than my fruit trees, my stone fruit. These citrus trees have done me a great service. Let's get a little bit closer. Now, if you look at the tree really close, you'll notice that there's a ton of blooms, and the blooms are literally all over the tree. Let's take a 360 view and we'll get a better look at this tree. And of course, you see the bees are still pollinating this tree. And this is what I want to talk to you folks about that are having problems with your trees. But you can see this tree is in complete, full bloom. From head to toe, 360 degrees. Oh, that poor little bee down there. Let me take a moment. Hey, bud, did you hurt yourself? Did you hurt yourself? Oh, come on. Did you hurt yourself? Come on, come here. Oh, good. I'm glad you got up and flew away. I don't like when bees are stuck, but there's some kumquats. I had to pull them off my tree because you don't want kumquats past their season. Otherwise, it stimulates what they call alternate years in your citrus trees. And so your tree won't bear fruit the following year. It'll alternate. So you don't want to leave your fruit on the trees. Take it off. And that'll promote more growth, more healthy roots. And then you need to prune. This is from my Nagami Kumquat. But back to what I was talking about. I'm giving you folks a 360-degree look at this tree. Okay, may I remind you, this tree is being grown in the ground in a elevated raised bed. It's absolutely gorgeous, right? You think? Absolutely, right? So let's now talk about some of the things that you need to do to make sure your trees are healthy and successful. So one of the things that I noticed right away with the clementine before the new season started, or shall I say the new year, I just simply pulled these grasses up and the roots follow. Sometimes, you know, these grasses can grow fairly long. They don't really cause me a problem, but, you know. But anywho, I noticed right away that this tree started to really sprout. And so it started sprouting outward and really looking healthy. This tree has gone through a tumultuous amount of stress over the years. I've had it in 2 different locations prior to planting it here. And I finally, over the past couple of years, said, I'm going to leave it right here now. And this is exactly where it is. And it's doing really good. I do see a few problems on the back of the leaves here. I see some leaf curl. Very slight leaf miner. This tree was known for having what they call mealybugs and aphids. The ants would literally protect the aphids, and they be clocked up on one leaf, and on another branch you see all of them sort of gathering. And I didn't treat this with any inorganic or organic insecticidal treatments. I simply used a high power nozzle and sprayed them off. That's all I did. But one day I came out and I took baking soda. Now we all know that I've told you that baking soda is a neutralizer. So I mixed some baking soda with a couple of drops of insecticidal soap. Okay? Organic soap. You can use Dawn dish soap, but that stuff is toxic. And some of us over the years, we've done some silly things. And if you're still washing your dishes with Dawn dish soap, get rid of it. I mean, that stuff, come on, it's so powerful that it strips oil off of things, animals that they rescue in the wild. And you're putting that on your skin, and your skin absorbs that. Use a natural soap. There's many alternatives out there. I encourage you all. But I took some baking soda, 2 tablespoons, okay, in 1 gallon, and I used a couple of drops of insecticidal soap. And I came in here and I took a full lemon. Hello, bee. I took a full, they're just pollinating. There's tons of bees in here. I took a full lemon and I squeezed the juice and I put it inside of the gallon. I made sure I shook it up and shook it up and shook it up and let it mix. Now remember, when you do this, you're going to get a lot of foam because of the insecticidal soap. It's going to get a lot of sud there. So let it settle over 15-20 minutes and the suds will settle down. You'll see all the liquid. And then I shook it up for a second and then a third time, assuring that I am really mixing this solution together. Once I did that, I poured it into smaller spray bottles. And then I came out and I sprayed my tree. I literally soaked it. And then I wanted to do a few more trees, but I found that the smaller bottles became more of a nuisance. And so I took another mixture and I put it inside of my 2-gallon sprayer, and I came down and soaked the rest of my trees. May I remind you what that does? That neutralizes any sort of fungus growth or bacteria that is trying to grow on the tree from possible insect contamination, because insects can carry disease. And so it neutralizes. When I say I sprayed this tree, I sprayed it all here, up in here, and so forth. Let me give you that solution again. 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Okay. I use Arm & Hammer, the orange, yellow, whatever you want to call it. I get it from Costco. Arm & Hammer, I think that's the name of it. 2 tablespoons of baking soda and a couple of drops of insecticidal soap. And depending on how much solution you're making, you may have to up that. And I also use a whole lemon. Now, what this does, the insecticidal soap allows this solution to stick to the leaves. That's very important in this case because you want to cover everything. And you don't want to do it when you have blooms. You want to do this just prior to the beginning of spring when there's no rain. You want it to at least sit on there for about a week so there's no rain. If it does rain, you're going to have to reapply it. Where does this solution comes from? I created it. I've done nothing but longitudinal studies in my garden to see what works. And when I say organic is very important. Matter of fact, remind me of that. I'm going to come back to that in a second. And then the lemon itself, the lemon scent, it repels most insects, such as aphids and ants and whatnot. And that's usually your tree's nemesis. So you want to get rid of those things, okay? And the baking soda, once again, is going to neutralize, stop the disease or bacteria from spreading. We don't have to worry about a lot of viruses with citrus trees except for the citrus silent, the Haublong Bing, which can wipe your trees out and wipe the entire state of California out when it comes to citruses. And this is why we don't transfer cuttings or purchase things that are outside of our state, especially when it comes to legalities. So we want to keep our crops safe so we can have access to them, right? Okay, so that's what I use here. And I use it in all of them. All of my citrus trees are, listen folks, all of my citrus trees are thriving. I kid you not. If I can lift these right now, I'm not gonna take, ooh, they're heavy. They've just been watered too. If you can, we're gonna get a close-up look. I'm gonna do another video next week. I'm gonna show you the health of my trees. And then we're gonna do some pruning. You know, a lot of people don't know that I do prune my citrus trees. And they say, well, do you ever prune them? Yes, I do. But I don't suggest pruning trees that are 3 years old or younger in containers. In containers. You can do that in the ground too. But if you got trees that grow as fast as mine do in containers, you got to be very careful pruning your trees right away because all of that coverage, when it comes to a citrus tree, you're literally looking at 42 leaves per citrus fruit. That's how many leaves you need for that one particular fruit to ripen. Without the leaf production, not only will you not have enough available photosynthesis, the ability for the plant to make food, the tree to make food, and to abstract those sugars and whatnot, but your trunk of your tree won't have enough coverage either. You see, and that's not what you want. You want plenty of coverage on the bottom of the trunk of your tree so that you won't have this problem with heat tearing up your trunk. This is why I don't use any products to paint on my trees. I don't use any products to spray on my trees. I use natural means. Listen, folks, I've been doing it a long time. I've never had to use any paint of any kind. I don't care what company sells it. My trees do just fine. But let's talk about, what did I remind you I was going to talk about? Organic. A lot of people claim to have organic gardening and they grow organic, but that's just literally a byword that many people have been using because they don't have to worry about getting sued. Let me explain it. In California, I'm qualified and certified not only as a master gardener, but an organic grower. And that's because California has some laws surrounding the ability for any resident to sell their food. They can sell their produce. You can become a small farmer really easy. And so under California, I am a small farmer. And if you want to check my credentials, no problem. Ask me, come to the source, and I'll give it to you. I'll also show you how you can do it also if you live within California. In fact, I've had a few people who've contacted me and say, Elder, I've taken the, I'm a master gardener now, I've taken the classes. Good for you. And it's just an accomplishment because you learn so much more. My studies continue when it comes to permaculture. And this is where I specialize in soil regeneration. So organic, anyone can say organic, but let me explain something to you. It doesn't take much to be considered organic, but as far as your gardening being organic, no. Your garden is never organic, never. You got so many different elements that could stop you right in your tracks. Organic applies to anyone who's certified organically by the state, okay? It's not applied to anyone just because they're gardening, they can call themselves organic. You got pollution, you got so many things that are killing your soil microbes in your garden and falling on your trees that you can't possibly claim organic. You understand what I'm saying? It gets deeper than that. If you folks want me to do a video specifically on that, let me know. I know this one is already long, but to each his own, let me know. Clementine mandarin, that's what this tree is. And it's going to give me some wonderful clementines this year on and about November, December, and they're gonna be delicious. I love these fruits, and I'm looking forward to harvesting plenty of them. Well, happy harvesting, and thank you for being here. We do have other citrus trees that we could talk about, but this is the one I'm very happy and thankful and grateful. Hallelujah. And thank you, Father, for helping this tree come through such difficult times because of my stupidity. It's a beautiful tree. Next time we'll come back and we'll talk about pruning your citrus tree. We'll do a live pruning and a live treatment. My solution, the one I mentioned to you. How often do you spray your tree with that? I would prefer you to spray your tree to bring it up to health once every 2 weeks for 2 months. Oh, that's my solution. And you've heard it here first. Shalom.